Today we're talking about Ziatora, a big boy that likes to throw even bigger boys around. And then we're going to double it and give it to the next person. And then double it and give it to the next person. And hey, why not double it and give it to the next person? So Ziatora. So he is a 3 black, red, green demon dragon, 6/6 with flying, and at the beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice another creature. When you do, Ziatora deals damage equal to that creature's power to any target, and you create 3 creature tokens. So you're going to be getting those treasures to get more big boys out. As well, Ziatora is the one doing damage. So we might want to also, you can give him some infect if you want to do quick kills. I don't have any of that in this deck. Or anything where if a creature is doing damage, that really helps. And I've got lots of damage doublers where if a creature does damage, it boosts it. So, first thing that we're going to look at is just some ramp. Because everything needs it. And a lot of the ramp is mostly creatures. Also some big things. So like Hulking Raptor, 5/3, double that up 1 or 2 times, you're going to be throwing 20 damage at someone. So you're going to get, plus it comes with a little bit of protection and 2 green, which is nice because this deck is very pip heavy. So the extra green mana is really nice. Delighted Halfling, so you can get Ziatora out a bit easier. You know, nothing's going to... Also, as well as stuff like Sulfim and Zopandrel, just to help prevent your big guys from getting countered. Arcane Signet and Soul Ring kind of speak for themselves. Souza, because I find that this deck ends up having a lot of land in hand because you're able to play, you generate a lot of mana. Not only from the treasures, but then there is quite a bit of ramp in this. Atsushi is really, really nice in this. He comes in as a 4/4, double that once or twice, you're going to be doing 8, potentially 16 damage to someone. As well, when it dies, you can look at the top 2 cards. Well, you exile the top 2 cards of your deck. You can play those, or you can create more treasure if you want it. Commander Sphere is just nice because it gives you a little bit of mana. Also can sack it to draw, and Kodama's Reach. It's a green deck. Kodama's Reach kind of fits into anything. Especially helps with mana fixing. Again, very pip heavy. Elvish Mystic, just a decent little thing. If you get a lot, like, you can use it as a blocker, but if you get a lot of the power doublers on there, like, why not throw him too? Sky Shroud Claim, go get some forests. I think I've got some duels in here that this really helps with. Again, more for mana fixing because of the pip heavy. Thought Vessel. I haven't had it where I need more than a max hand size in this, but never hurts to have. Cultivate, same reason as Kodama's Reach. And Emerald Medallion, this is mainly so when Ziatora inevitably gets killed, exiled, what have you. Just a little bit cheaper to cast. So, what are we ramping into? Alright, so these are the big boys. These are the guys that you're going to want to throw. Protean Hydra, really nice because you can bring it out with as many +1/+1 counters as you'd like on it, and then double them once or twice. He could get really big, or you could play him near the end game where you can put 10 +1/+1 counters on him, and then potentially swing with him, and then throw him for lethal. Omnath is great in this. Save up all those treasures, crack him for green, then you got a bunch of green mana kicking around. He gets bigger and bigger, or you can just have him around for a couple turns. Oh, focus. You can have him around for a couple turns, save up that green, and use it for other really, really big green heavy spells like Gruff Triplets. Gruff Triplets is great in this. You double them once, they all become 6/6s. You throw 1. The other 2 get +6/+6. Then you double those, they become 18/18s. You throw one of those, you put 18 counters on the one guy. Now you've got a 27/27 that when you double it, it's a 54/54. Like, these guys, this is probably one of the all-stars of this deck. So good. Corvold's great. you're going to be sacrificing things anyways. You're making treasures to sacrifice. You're sacrificing creatures. You're going to get a lot of draw. You're going to get a lot of +1/+1 counters on Corvold. He's nice to have out. It is definitely a threat. It's nice to have out early, though, just so you can get that draw. And then every time you're sacking something, at some point, you're going to be like, all right, this is enough. This is all the counters that I need on Corvold. Of course, you can never have enough draw, but maybe you're only down to one opponent. You just throw a 20/20 Corvold at them. Double it once or twice. Sometimes it just takes 10. Trumpeting Carnosaur is really nice. Just, a 6 mana 7/6 with Trample and Discover 5. You're eventually going to roll into something decent. Probably going to hit some ramp because there is quite a bit of ramp. Or you can hit Omnath. There's Mirkwood Bats in here. So there's a bunch of other utility things that this can roll into, and it's really nice. Or you can hit... where is he in here? You can potentially hit Daemogoth Titan, who's 4 mana 11/10. Now, you're not really going to be swinging with this guy, but, I mean, it's an 11/10 for 4 mana. You just have him out, and once you get one doubler, you can potentially take someone out as long as they've taken a little bit of damage. So Trumpeting Carnosaur is really nice. Daemogoth Titan, also nice. Cheap and big. Atali, Primal Conqueror. So not only is it nice that you get a bunch of cards from this, but I mean, it's a 7/7. You could turn him into an 11/11. You will have the mana to do it, though usually there's not much reason to do so. Yeah, just a generally really good card. And not the worst casting cost for this deck. Phytotitan. Phytotitan is awesome in this. A 7/2 that when it dies returns to the battlefield tapped under your control. Woo, shit. Woo, damn, this... Fuck. Phytotitan is awesome in this. When it dies, it returns to the battlefield under your control. It comes in tapped, but that's okay. Phytotitan is awesome in this. When it dies, it comes back to your control at the beginning of your next upkeep. It comes in tapped, but that's okay because you don't need to attack with it. This is a really early, just chuck it, get it back. Chuck it, get it back. It only takes a few times to kill someone, so really nice to have. Anzreg is new in this. So Anzreg I've got in here because there's quite a few combat damage doublers. And if you're able to get Anzreg's ability off, again, not very hard because this deck does make a lot of mana. Every time a new combat starts, the power is going to double and double and double. And all you got to do is just attack someone with no creatures, which will most likely kill them with Anzreg. And then you throw another creature, or even Anzreg, with Ziatora. And you could potentially take out 2, if not 3 people in one turn once Anzreg gets going. Just, this card's ridiculous on its own even. Galta. So, you've got big creatures. Galta costs 2 green, basically. Like, you double your power once, he's not going to cost anything. Then you get him out, and then look at that, if you've got any sort of doubling like this deck should have out, you got a 24/24, potentially a 48/48. Nice big boy. And Malignus. So Malignus's Malignus's power and toughness are each equal to the highest life total among your opponents rounded up. So get him out early, or you get him out against a life gain deck, he is very easily going to be a 20/20. And then you just double it and you throw it at the person with the highest life and they're out. Nice and easy. Life gain deck, no problem. They're gone. So this guy he's definitely a finisher. There's no reason to play him unless you're getting ready to remove someone, and you should have a power doubler out. Speaking of doublers. So now they come in a couple different ways. The beginning ones here are kind of the combat doublers. So exponential growth is kind of unique in that you can use it afterwards and just double and double and double and double as many times as you want to pump into it. Usually just once or twice is all you need. So really, if you're paying 6 mana to quadruple your creature's power, that's pretty good for this deck, especially since you're going to get 3 of that mana back at the end once you throw it. Finale of Devastation, yeah, it's not a power doubler, but you can very easily hit that 10 or more mana on that X cost. And you're going to get whatever creature you need from there, so you can go grab Daemogoth Titan, Malignus. There's, well, all the ones that I just showed. Gruff Triplets would be ridiculous. You go get one of those guys, put them on the battlefield, they get +10/+10 or more, gain haste, you attack out with everything, you didn't kill one guy, throw the biggest dude at them. Nice and easy way to finish the game. Everyone knows that. Xenagos, God of Revels. Xenagos is just great. He's indestructible. He's at 6/5. At the beginning of your combat, double a specific creature's power and toughness, well, based on the power, but this guy's great. If you don't have anything else, you double him and you could throw him for the end of the game. Or you just hold on to him and he's an amazing blocker. This is a phenomenal card. Zopandrel. This is where Ansrag gets really good. Again, Zopandrel and Unnatural Growth. They're going to both do the same thing. The thing is, if you need to, you can throw Zopandrel. As well, it's not as pip heavy as Unnatural Growth. So they're both really good to have. Again, color, once you get Ziatora out, isn't going to be that much of an issue. You should be able to make the 4 green, and definitely should be able to hit the 7 costs, especially seeing that Ziatora is a 6 cost. But these are great, especially if you can hit Ansrag. I don't have many like extra combat phases in here. It's, again, more about extra doubling. So if you get both of these out, you got quadruple power just in your combat phase. So then afterwards, we've got the damage doublers that do it outside of combat. So like Sulfim, whenever a source deals non-combat damage, double it. This is great with Ziatora if you need some removal. If you need to get that extra bit of damage, you got Zopandrel out and you've got a 24/24 Ghalta. This is going to turn that damage from Ziatora into 48/48. Should be able to wipe anyone out. Repercussions. So I count this as a damage doubler, mainly because if you throw this makes it so you're wanting to throw more at creatures rather than your opponents. So instead of throwing your 24/24 Ghalta at your opponent and hitting face, you can take out one of their creatures and then throw it at them. And if you have Sulfim out, it's going to be 24/24 to the creature, and then this is going to double it to the creature's controller to 48/48. So this works really well with a lot of these non-combat damage doublers. Dictate of the Twin Gods. Same sort of thing as Sulfim, except it's if any source would deal damage to a permanent or player. So this could backfire on you. But still nice to have. Sure, someone could swing at you for something, but you also have a ton of really big guys or a bunch of mana dorks out that you should be able to block with. Gratuitous Violence. So same thing. If a creature you control would deal damage to a creature or a player, it deals double. And this works really well with Ziatora because it specifically says that Ziatora is the one dealing damage. So this works great in this deck. Again, just another version of Sulfim. Could also be combat damage. You are going to be swinging with Ziatora a little bit because his power is going to be doubled. Very easily kill someone with commander damage. Furnace of Wrath. Double all damage assigned to any creature or player. Just another damage doubler. Again, bit pip heavy. Shouldn't be that much of an issue. Only 4 mana. Archfiend of Despair. Now this is a damage doubler in a bit of a weird way because at the beginning of each end step, the opponent's going to lose the same amount of life they already just lost. So it's damage doubler by proxy, really. Bloodletter of Aklazah, it's kind of the same thing as Archfiend of Despair. Oh, come on, focus. This specifically only works during your turn, so still works great with Ziatora. This one's interesting, Death's Presence. So whenever a creature you control dies, put X +1/+1 counters on target creature you control, where X is the power of that creature. So, you know, you've got your Omnath, you've pumped it up to be a 10/10, and you decide to throw it. then you got 10+1/+1 counters to throw on something else. And then when that dies, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So this is a really nice card to have in this deck just to keep that power rolling. Next is just a little bit of recursion. So Mikaeus the Unhallowed is really nice in this deck because you're going to be throwing something, it'll come back. It has gets +1/+1 already from Mikaeus, and then it has Undying. There's pretty much no humans in this deck, so everything is going to be affected, so you're going to be able to throw everything twice, as well as it comes back to be a blocker. Dread Return. This isn't too bad. It's if you threw away your like Malignus or a Gruff Triplet, the main Gruff Triplet, then you could bring it back and then throw it all over again. And if you have those Gruff Triplets, why not? Like, you could sacrifice one of those, put the power on the other, then you get another Gruff Triplet, and it just keeps going and going. Eternal Witness is just great. I mean, go grab any card that happened to be milled or you had to discard something. This is just a really nice card, just in case you threw away one of the big boys that you're looking for or damage doubler. And Victimize. This works especially great with Gruff Triplets because you can go get Gruff Triplets and then another big guy, and you could sacrifice one of the tokens that you made. So this card is really nice with bringing back all these really big boys. And now we've got just some card draw. So I count Regal Behemoth could be ramp. I like it just for the Monarch sake. It's also a 5/5, so it's a big target to throw. Tribute to the World Tree. You're playing a lot of big creatures. You're going to get a lot of card draw out of this. This should have been in ramp. This is more ramp. Well, I mean, you could also draw from its activated ability. Honestly, still pretty good, just in the wrong section. Tooth and Nail, counting this as draw because you're going to go grab two of your biggest guys and put them straight onto the battlefield. It should really be no issue in this deck. Playing with the should really be no issue in this deck playing this with the Entwine cost. Solemn Simulacrum, it's ramp. It's a bit of card draw. You can throw it really early. It's a nice little card. Selvala, you're going to get a lot of ramp. You're going to get a lot of card draw out of this, especially if you're able to play some of your bigger things later. This is just really nice in this deck. Necropotence, you're going to have no issue paying the 3 black. So you might as well start paying, like, I play really risky. So I would be refilling my hand up to 7, especially since if you have no card draw out, you might as well. Yeah, this deck is kind of glass cannon-y, but go all out. Why the hell not? Green Sun's Twilight. This is nice. You're going to be dumping a land and a creature onto the battlefield. You could probably end up looking through about 7 different cards, and then look at that. You've got something big. You've got Galta, you've got Atali, you've got Malignus out. This is a really nice card. Minsk and Boo, this doubles as another Ziatora, because you could throw an extra thing a turn, or you just start building Boo up, and just slowly keep building him up, and then you could throw it and get a ton of card draw. And Orin Frostfang. This is just really nice to give all your stuff not only Death Touch, but then you have more reason to attack with it. Those big creatures, a lot of them already have Trample. You're going to go through. You're going to get a lot of card draw with Orin Frostfang. I love this card. This is great. There's not a lot of protection in the deck. Snakeskin Veil, Tameo Safekeeping, Deflecting Swat. Yeah, just because it's so glass cannon, and it's all about just getting things out, going so fast, and throwing, really, hopefully just throwing 3 creatures and killing. Doesn't happen often, but it can. Snakeskin Veil and Tameo Safekeeping is going to give your Ziatora hexproof. This one's going to also give it indestructible. And Deflecting Swat, just, get rid of any Swords to Plowshare, Path to Exile, any effects like that. Just keep Ziatora safe, or if there's anything else that you need to keep more safe, these are really all I feel this deck needs. You could always run more, but nah, I like just these 3. Alright, and these are just some extra cards that really work well with the deck. Mirkwood Bats, you're going to be making a lot of treasures. Whenever you sacrifice them, someone's going to lose a life. Urbrask, this way, when you play your creature, before you throw it, you can definitely attack with it. Give your stuff haste, stop everyone from being able to block your guys. Just a pretty good card in this deck. Barbed Servitor. So this one being super new, I haven't been able to play with it yet, but my thought about it is that if you've got something like Sulfam out, and for whatever reason, you know, if you got Sulfam and your opponent doesn't really have something you want to kill right away, or you just want to take your opponent out, you hit Barbed Servitor with whatever you throw. And then you can do the extra damage to your opponent. So this works kind of almost like a little damage doubler if you've got the right cards out. Plus, it's got a little bit of card draw attached to it. Indestructible, nice little blocker. Pretty decent little card. Got a lot of black creatures, got a lot of green creatures. Make yourself some tokens. Decent little card. Not going to get you a whole bunch of power, but it's pretty good. Treasure Map's nice just because you're going to be making a lot of treasures, and when you flip this, you can start sacrificing those treasure tokens for card draw if you're really lacking on card draw. Urbrask's Forge, if you get this out super early, eventually you're going to have like some really big Phyrexians that are coming in. You're going to trample over with something. If they block, whatever. If not, if you want to save all your other guys, you throw the token that this makes. Really good way to get a little bit of damage in. Insurrection. Now, this is kind of a game winner. If everyone's got creatures, you're going to take them all, do damage to everyone with their creatures. Really good on its own. With Ziatora, I like it just because if someone doesn't die and they've got a creature that's just been a pain in the ass, you could throw that creature at them. And then they've lost their creature, they've taken a bunch of damage. Yeah, they get all their stuff back, but I mean, they just lost probably their best card at that point. Roaming Thrones. So this is interesting in this deck, because yeah, you could very easily name Demon or Dragon with this. I would recommend Demon simply because it helps with the Archfiend of Despair. There's not as many dragons in this deck. Yeah, you could get Corvald, but I mean, I'm all about dealing the extra damage. If you also want, you can name Horror or Phyrexian, and then So Pandrel is going to double and actually quadruple all your creatures' power and toughness. So, I mean, it's Roaming Throne. It's just really goddamn good. Basilisk Collar. Get it out. Equip it to Ziatora. He has lifelink now. Throw a creature, you're gaining a ton of life. So, nice little add to this. Altar of the Wretched. So, I count this as a big boy maker because you're going to have a bunch of big guys in your grave. You're going to craft with them and then flip it. And then it's going to have the total power of everything that you just crafted with. And then you double it and throw it away. Just a kind of a nice one-time bomb, really. Sneak Attack. Drop something in, throw it right away. There's really no other reason. It's just if you need to get some extra damage in, if say you drop something that you don't want to throw and you need a target to throw, drop something in. Drop Galt if for whatever reason you don't have mana. Drop Malignus, then throw it immediately. That way you're not losing out because you got to sacrifice it anyways. Brass's Tunnel Grinder. This is great in this deck because it's a lot of high mana value cards. When you flip it and use its mana to cast something, you get to discover X, which is, I believe, equal to the mana value of the card. Whenever you cast a permanent spell using mana produced by Teclatan, the Searing Rift, discover X, where X is that spell's mana value. Yeah, so that's just going to, that's going to net you a lot of really big creatures. Or you use that mana and you cast Skullspore Nexus, and then, oh, look at that, you're discovering 8. And Skullspore Nexus is awesome because you're going to throw a really big dude. Oh, look at that. Now you've got a 24/24 token for the next turn that will double up into 48/48. Thanks, Galta. We enjoy your corpse. Last but not least, got some lands here. Nothing super fancy. Again, it's pretty equal for mana values in this deck. I did remove a little bit of black from it, so it's not super black heavy. It's very much green and red now. But with the treasures that Ziatora is making, and as long as you keep it pretty even, I find Urborg used to be super useful in this just because there was a lack of black mana being produced, so being able to get everything to produce black. But now, it's not as bad. It's pretty easy to cast nearly everything in this deck. But yeah, if you want, I'm going to post a link to the Architect file for this deck. Take a look around. If you think of any other additions for this deck, let me know. I know there's a lot of new cards from Murders of Karlov Manor that could be added, and maybe there's some old cards that I don't know about, or some really niche damage doublers. But leave a comment, let me know. Don't be afraid to hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you with the next deck.